Bro, come on. Give me Austria. I beg you, man. I beg you. That's the track I was warming up with. I was practicing Austria like 5 minutes ago. I beg you. Oh! No, it is Austria. Yes! It's not over. I was begging. I felt it. I told you I felt it. Yo guys, welcome back to yet another League Racing video on the channel. Today we're here with UFRL round number 5, which is a mystery Grand Prix, likely inspired by the Creator Series method. They just get a wheel and any track that isn't in the calendar that is spun. But these are the standings from last round. We are currently 4th place, around 33 points behind Hazer and P1, which is not ideal, but it is definitely not over. You may be wondering why you're not watching me do a qualifying lap, and that is because I'm serving a qualifying ban. It is, what's it called again? I don't know, but it's something that the league does where you get an engine penalty and every team has to serve one, every driver. And I chose to do it this round in hopes that it would be a track like Austria, which it was. And you will have heard in the intro to the video that I was very happy with Austria, and it was the one track that I had prepped for, which is insane for when you're starting at the back. I got so lucky, 1 out of 10 shot, and we get the track I wanted. You might have seen in the results that my teammate, Bad Boy, qualified P2, which is absolutely huge. Huge confidence. His last few races have not been great. He has sat in the call with me during this race, which you might hear me talking to. You can't hear him, unfortunately. But anyway, we are starting 19th on the grid in the Mystery Grand Prix. It is 5 red lights, and away we go. We get an okay start, but up ahead, Viva spins. There's a car going backwards.
Viva spun off the start, man.
And already we've got wing damage.
Oh my god, are you serious?
And a 10-second penalty.
3 of us have got 10 seconds.
And 3 of the drivers have got a 10-second penalty because Viva spun as he got off the line and he was facing backwards right off the start. We served the 10 seconds, we boxed for the hards, we were calling for the red flag, and the race is going to be restarted because why it gave a lot of us 10 seconds, I don't know.
Laps on this game in the last hour.
But I've done barely any laps in the last hour on this game because I was sat doing nothing. The lobby was restarted. It took like 20 minutes for the restart to happen. So I am very cold on this game right now. Not warmed up at all. But we are going to get back at it. With starting P18 this time, there's 5 red lights. And away we go. Lynx has already got a drive-through. And he had to serve a qualifying ban, which he forgot to do, so now he's at the back of the grid for this restart. But either way, we're trying to get past William brakes pretty soon. There was a bit of wing damage flying off straight away. But we're going to get past Viva. Going to burn all the battery we can. Jack goes off our bed. He comes back onto the track. We barely miss him. He nearly collects me and William. But then we're going to survive it somehow. Quick reactions. We go down the inside. Hazer's spun. Dog spun. We're going 3 wide. I need to get past at the minute. We are getting past and we make a triple overtake along the straight after turn 3. Car sends up the inside. Sniper Sai is now off the track. He's coming back on. We make a free place on him. Coffee and Poochie up ahead going side by side. Coffee breaks early. Poochie breaks late. And we're going to try and make a move on Coffee. We're going to leave him the space around the outside. We make contact. He somehow doesn't spin. We're somehow still alive in this race. And we're up into P9 from P18 in the opening lap of the race. Now, Poochie's ran deep. Try and go for a move. We leave it because it's not a smart place to go for a move. And that lap alone, incredible. There is way too much going on. But it has been an amazing start, considering we started P18. We're already up half the grid. We're going to go for a move on Poochie now. Going to use our little ERS that we have to make a move. We're going to brake as late as we can. He brakes later. We lock up a little bit. There is contact made. We start ghosting. But I can see on the front right end plate of Poochie's car, he does not have any wing. He doesn't have a front right of the wing. So we really needed to get past and not lock up and hit him because he is going to be holding us up for the laps that we cannot get past him. For the middle sector and the final sector, he should be holding us up. But we are somehow getting out of this first 2 laps without any wing damage. Made contact with William at the start. Made contact with Pucci into turn 3 on the second lap. Somehow that didn't give me wing damage. But you can see that we are just all over the back of Pucci as our teammate is running away with the race at the minute. We're going to go for a move on the first straight. We're going to get it done. We're only on 16% battery. And Pucci is now going to get DRS. So we are going to be under immense pressure from the man with little front wing. He has got damage. But you can see he's got more straight line speed using his ERS and using DRS. We are going to defend him into turn 3. We managed to hold it off. We run a slight bit deep, but we're going to try to get a good exit on to the back straight. But unfortunately, Pucci does just have that little bit more straight line speed with the DRS, and we decide to lift off and let him through because I'm not actually sure I realized at this point that Pucci had damage. I thought he might have just been like having a bit of a slow first lap, but no, you can see we are all over the back of him. We're nearly going to spin him round here, getting really close. Slight bit of contact made, but he does just pull to the inside and eventually let me, and I think he let Doug go through as well, because I believe he was going to box at the end of this lap and he didn't want to hold anyone else up. But unfortunately, the damage has been done, at least for now, because we are 1.6 seconds off of the cars in front, but we have cut ahead a few laps and we do manage to catch up. It would have been nice to have been in the DRS of the leading pack from the start. But, oh well. We're here on lap 5. We're in P8. Considering we started last, this has been an amazing start to the race. Up ahead, there are scraps going on. It's too wide, like in 2 other battles up ahead. But we are just gonna sit behind and hope that these guys don't take each other out. And if they do, we really need to avoid it. Because if we don't avoid it, it will likely ruin our race even more than starting at the back already did. But if you had a keen eye, you would have saw that of the 2 ghosted cars that we got past in turn 3 on lap 1, Hazer was one of them, and he did start in P6, I think, at the start of this race, and he is one of our championship rivals. He is currently leading the championship as it stands, and he's in behind us, which is huge, considering, yet again, that I started from the back. But we're alright. Piggy, I keep saying Lynx, it's not Lynx. Piggy goes a little bit deep. We are going to go for a move, though. We're going to go for it into turn 1, using our charged up battery. But I kind of don't go for it. Like, I kind of keep my nose there, which wasn't good. Like, I either had to commit and brake late or just not go for the move at all. So I made a bit of a mistake there, and that's lost us time to Hazer, and it's obviously got him in the DRS. Going to make a very late move to the inside going into turn 3. Piggy brakes late. We run over the curb. We actually have to try and not run into him. Dutch Beast now has a really poor exit, and now we're going to try and get the slipstream from him. Him and Piggy going side by side. Dutch Beast runs onto the grass a little bit. Piggy goes deep. Beast goes deep, and he swipes across very aggressively. Not too sure if he just lost the back end. I'd like to think he did, because I don't think he's that dirty of a driver. But we do manage to make it past the Ferrari driver, who I believe started P3, which is unfortunate to see him down in P8, because he obviously qualified so high. But now Piggy, from all the fighting with Beast, we're now stuck behind him, and we have lost to the DRS to George Hutch and the leading group of cars, which is really bad for us. We try and go around the outside, but Piggy shuts the door, rightfully so we back out and go for a move on the inside, and we get the move done up into turn 1. But now we're going to be stuck without DRS, and we're only on 16% battery, so we're going to just burn as much as we can. But you can see Piggy's got so much more straight line speed, and he is just going to be flying. But we managed to lift off. We play the mind games. We play tactically. We still hang it around the outside, but we backed off just before the DRS line, so we could open up the rear wing and have that extra speed, and Piggy does not, meaning we could get the move. Nicely done. Hazer is also going side by side with Piggy at the minute, though, which is not, well, it's ideal for me. It's not ideal for them. But behind us, a McLaren spins round. One of them might be Lynx at the back, which is helpful for our championship because he is up there. I believe he is P2 or 3 in the standings. So it is a 4-way title fight in this round as it stands. Cutting ahead to lap 10, Hazer did eventually get past Piggy. Didn't lose too much time because he is still in our DRS behind. And we're still not able to charge up the ERS. And we have only been losing time to the cars in the pack ahead. I think we've lost 4 tenths in the last 3 laps. because the DRS is way too powerful and it will just pull the cars ahead. And speaking of how powerful it is, we are going to let Hazer go through with his extra straight line speed, because maybe if we work together over the rest of this race, or this first stint at least, maybe we can catch up to the DRS of George Hutch ahead just by using our extra speed to let us go. But in the first lap, it hasn't really worked. But Hazer puts his ERS into none to charge up, and we just make the move. Into turn 4, nice and easy. Cutting ahead a lap or two ahead now. We have charged up a battery a little bit, and we're going to move to the inside and just let Hazer through. And even though we are championship rivals, we do have to work together in certain scenarios to help better both our races, or at least only my race, because I fully expect to be fighting Hazer really hard at the end of the race. We have a massive tank slapper out of turn 1, but somehow we still have enough speed. I'm just assuming Hazer's putting it in none. But over these last few laps, we've only gained 3/10 to Salty Stevens, who is constantly losing time to George Hutch. And they're also a bit disconnected from the cars ahead. And by lap 15, Merckx in the Mercedes is the first one to box. He boxed last lap, I believe. So he is going to have a lot of extra speed. But Hayes is going to go through now, and he has timed that perfectly, because he is now going to have DRS on Salty Stevens, who is going to be a sitting duck on this next corner. And we have massive rear wheel spinning, so we're not going to be close enough to try and get past Salty Stevens with Hazer. So if Hazer gets past Salty Stevens and we can't, then Hazer's going to build that 1 second gap, and we're going to get held up by Stevens. And we really don't want that to happen, because we need to stick with Hazer, because we need to gain some more points in him. We're 33 points behind him in the championship, and if we don't start gaining some points soon, he's going to just start to run away with it. And he's going to go for a move on Salty Stevens, who seemingly just lets him go through. But it's not such a bad thing, because he does run wide. He goes off track to let us through. And we do pick up a warning on while making the overtake. I'm completely okay with that, because we don't really want to be losing too much time. So I'm okay to take my first warning to be able to stay with Hazer. It is a risk that was definitely worth taking, as we are now going to be able to overtake him going up into turn 3. As I'm trying to think who boxed just then, because someone boxed, because we're now into the top 3 after not making too many overtakes, and I believe it was my teammate Bad Boy who did decide to box for the hard compound tyres. He did start on the mediums like everyone else did, and it seems like it's just Lights and George up ahead that have put on the hard tyres, and we cut ahead one single lap, and we're going to be boxing for some fresh hard tyres and trying to take it, obviously going to take it to the end of the race, but we're going to need to try and make some progress. I'm fully expecting Merckx, who, if you remember, boxed 4 or 5 laps ago now. He has easily overtaken us, and so is Bad Boy. They were obviously ahead of us, but now they've just fully increased the gap from 3-4 seconds to 5 seconds. You can see 6-second gap to Merckx in the top left. But luckily for our race with Hazer, Poem boxed a lap sooner, and he has undercut Hazer, which now means that there is a car buffer between myself and Hazer, which is absolutely huge. And this is going to be our time to try and run away, or at least gap Hazer as much as we can. But onto lap 16, Lynx stays out from lap 1 because he put on the mediums. Or he's still on his mediums from lap 1, hoping for a safety car, because he got the drive-through penalty straight off the line for jumping the start, which is unfortunate for him. But now that means that we've now got a slower car behind us between myself, Hazer, and even Poem at this point. And you can see the gap is now 1.4 seconds. Lynx is struggling on his really worn 18-lap-old tyres. And we set the fastest lap of the race because we're on the fresher tyres, we're burning all the ERS, and we're really pushing to try and keep Hazer behind. And cutting ahead a few laps, Hazer is still on 1.4 seconds behind us, but he's also picked up a 3-second penalty, which is incredible, because now that means even if we finish close behind Hazer, we will keep the position, we will get the position off him. But it's now time for Lights to come out the box, and he really went long on the hard tyres to put on the fresh mediums. We're going to have a lot of extra pace, but we've only got 12% battery, so we really should have went for the move here, but I decided to stick behind to get DRS onto the next lap. But I massively underestimated the speed he would have and the grip on the exit. And you're going to hear me start talking about it in a minute, but I have
I
made,
a mistake.
yep, there you go, made a mistake here by letting Light stay ahead. Because now he's going to be challenging my teammate who's up in the fight for the win, which it would have been helpful if I had held him up at least a little bit, maybe like 5 seconds. Then we also have that
Yeah,
massive snap. We got on the curb
I just came out
way
behind-
too soon,
no, I came out
or we
behind
just got on the
lights
curb
and
at all,
I just
and we nearly lost the
ran out
car.
of
We're
DRS,
good to
so
have
I had
not
burn
lost the
it.
car because
Trying to stay
probably should have. Just because the curbs are so deadly on this year's game, we definitely should have lost the car and even spun around there.
Oh my god.
And a very like few
gonna
corners
try
later,
and
we're already out the
play a
DRS.
bit of DRS chicken to get past him, and then I just did not have DRS.
Yeah, you can hear me
So now it's just
explaining to
gone.
Bad Boy what the mistake was. He was asking why I was annoyed, and it was because I let him by and massively made a mistake. Basically, I underestimated how much grip he'd have, and you can see now he's right catching up to Merckx and Bad Boy. He's on the fresher and softer compound of tyres, so he is in the prime seat to win this race, at least on track, because he does have 3 seconds of penalties, which I'm currently not in the realm of reaching. But if the cars up ahead keep fighting as much as I hope they will, then I might catch up the 3 seconds and manage to sneak onto the podium. You can see if you look in the top left, the delta is currently 1.2 seconds to Poem behind, which is incredible because we do not want them to start fighting us. We just need to lock in and get the foot down. And you can see up ahead, 2 wide going into turn 1. It's not what you want to be doing if you were them, but for me, I'm completely okay with it because the gap is coming down to 3.3 seconds, at least to Merckx, and 6 seconds now for Lights. He has actually picked up his 6th warning of the race at least, and he's got 6 seconds worth of penalties, which we're currently in the realm of catching him up to. So if the race finished now, we would be on the podium after starting last on the grid. And you can see in the bottom right, we are on negative fuel. We have underfueled a little bit too much. We didn't actually underfuel the car, but we just didn't put in enough over that throughout the race it would last. So we're currently 0.8 down on the fuel. Going on to the last lap, we are now 2.5 seconds away from Merckx, and they are hopefully going to keep fighting. So maybe Merckx can pick up a penalty and we might be able to get P2 today. But right now it is looking like we're going to get Lights and sneak onto the podium. But up ahead, Bad Boy, our teammate, is currently leading the way. He does have a 3-second penalty, but as it stands, he would finish P2, which is huge for the team. A P2 and a P3 right now would be massive. But you can see 0.10 laps of fuel below, which means that we are going to be set to run out of fuel going through the last 2 corners, which might end up cutting the gap to Lights a bit close because he's got 6 seconds. He's about 4 seconds ahead. So if we lose 2 seconds worth of time through the low fuel mode that we are going to be in going through the last few corners, then we might still only finish P4. We've lost about 7/10 to Merckx, who is just sitting and making sure he doesn't get any track limits because he is set to win this race. We're going to go through the final corners. We're in low fuel mode now. You can see we're low on power. Going through the last corner, we're going so slow up to the line. It's going to be close.
No, I don't.
And it's such a snail of a drag race, but we do manage to get past Lights, who, unluckily for him, picked up another 3-second penalty. So he was on 9 seconds of penalties, so we were actually quite safe. And even if we were within the 6 seconds, we did get him. But
I was just not on the pace.
a Williams
I was like
1-2, no, not 1-2. It's a 2-3 for Williams for the first time this season, and we have been massively struggling in the constructors.
Still came second.
We've managed to pick up a 2-3, seemingly out of nowhere, and I started last on the grid. So we get driver of the day, obviously. P18 to P3 is an absolutely insane drive, and we got so lucky on the mystery track being Austria, because that was the one track that I was hoping I'd get, and it was the one track that I was doing some warm-up for before the race, because obviously we didn't know what track it was going to be. It was out of like 10 tracks, but we just got really lucky. Bad Boy's done incredible to get a P2, and well done for Merckx for getting the win. And Hazer, you won't see him P6, but he did finish P6. He left the game too soon, so the game has bugged him out. But we've managed to gain quite a lot of points on everyone that's ahead of us in the championship. And from starting P18, that was an incredible race. And I appreciate you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, remember to like and subscribe. And I will see you for Australia in the next one. See ya.